Good evening. A BBC investigation has learned that a company which ran children's homes where residents were systemically abused also failed to prevent adults in their care from being harmed. In January, we found children were reported to have been punched, kicked and fed chilies at homes in Doncaster, run by the private company Hesley Group. Now we can reveal a report published in 2010 discovered almost 100 cases of abuse in one of their homes for vulnerable young adults. Hesley Group said improvements were made at the time and the children's homes were closed 2 years ago, but the company is still operating. Our correspondent Noel Tithridge, who broke the original story, reports now on his latest investigation.
You could see the sadness in his eyes. It's something that you don't forget.
Children punched, kicked and dragged across the floor.
You can't believe that people in care would treat children like this.
In January, we uncovered reports of systemic abuse at these children's homes in Doncaster. Now we reveal that the company running them has also failed to protect vulnerable adults.
Mr. McSherry, what would you like to say to the families of children abused and neglected in your care?
There was psychological abuse, physical abuse, there was unexplained bruises.
Oliver is autistic and has complex needs, meaning he can't live at home. His mother says she was told he faced abuse and neglect at Hesley in 2019, despite his placement costing taxpayers around £300,000 a year.
A retired social worker was actually passing a minibus and they saw staff strangling him.
Oliver's one of more than 100 young people feared to have been harmed, despite his parents' best efforts.
It became my full-time job. Email after email, including the chief exec. I felt I should be able to protect my son from harm, but I couldn't.
But we've learned it's not the first time Hesley's been investigated.
We found residents being unsupervised, neglected.
8 years before, this confidential report discovered 99 proven cases of abuse at a placement for young adults.
There was the incident with a member of staff importing a taser gun. We asked the social worker to go out and interview him. And at interviewing, he confirmed that he'd bought the taser intending to use it at work for his own protection.
The report's author says lessons should have been learned.
It doesn't seem to have had any impact at all. The local authorities just continue to feed people into this system. Hesley continues to make these massive profits.
So that's their Facebook. And their LinkedIn shows they're already working for children.
Our team wanted to find out what happened to staff who worked in Hesley's children's homes. We found that support workers accused of assault were able to get new jobs at different companies. And we've also learned that some staff accused of abuse weren't immediately referred to the barring service. Hesley's chief executive is Chris McSherry, who recently bought and developed this equestrian centre. Accounts suggest he's received at least £5 million as a director since 2006. He's refused to be interviewed about both our investigations.
Mr. McSherry, BBC News, why didn't you properly investigate the abuse in your homes? Mr. McSherry, what would you like to say to the families of children abused and neglected in your care? As Chief Executive, why won't you respond to these questions, Mr. McSherry?
In a statement, Hesley said up to 6 people may not have been immediately referred to DBS but had now been, and improvements were made across the company after the 2010 report.
This shows a company that is repeatedly not following the rules.
This senior MP says our investigation is deeply shocking.
The historical findings back in 2010, the fact that those have then been repeated in other settings, and the fact that systemically the disclosure and borrowing scheme have not been used or informed effectively, they're all matters of deep concern. I want to make sure we improve the system.
Hesley continues to educate and accommodate vulnerable people, while the government's promised to strengthen standards of care. But families of children say they're concerned that lessons won't be learned once again.
And that report was by the BBC's Noel Tithridge.